all agree that the original sin had nothing to do with a piece of fruit, right? Unless it's your belief that the fall of mankind is a direct result of Eve eating an apple. Don't you think that it would make more sense that the story is a metaphor and the fruit is symbolic of, oh, I don't know, sex? What if Eve had sex with the serpent, not knowing the full consequences of her actions, gave sex to Adam? What if her first child, Cain, is actually not Adam's son at all? We know that Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden. We know that they are told not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but can have their way with all of the other trees. We also know that trees are created on day 3, but Adam and Eve aren't created until day 6. When both trees and Adam and Eve are created, we are specifically told that the tree will bear fruit and that the seed is in and of itself, meaning the tree and Adam and Eve are created with the inherent ability to reproduce. If I need to be even clearer, trees are a metaphor for people, and the seed is a metaphor for sex and the subsequent offspring. So what if the fallen angels brought sex with them? What if before the creation of Adam and Eve, people possessed the ability to be fruitful and multiply by simply willing it to be so, because the seed was already in them? For example, the oldest non-clonal single-stem tree in the world is the Great Basin bristlecone found in California. You heard that right. California, USA. Not Africa, not the Middle East. But anyways, this tree contains both male and female reproductive organs. It should be noted that this tree is unsurprisingly named Methuselah. Methuselah is Enoch's son and Noah's grandfather. But anyways, the seed of Abel and the seed of Cain are representative of 2 important and very distinct lineages or trees. Let me show you. First Enoch chapter 22 verse 9 reads like this: "And now the cry of the righteous has reached the heavens, and their lamentations have reached the end of the earth. And the great power of the righteous has not yet come to pass. And now the angels are holding their tears, and they cry out, for the ruin of the seed of Cain is upon us." Why would the angels be holding back tears and crying out that the destruction of the seed of Cain is upon us, unless their seed is the seed of Cain? Hear me out. We know that angel is a misnomer for alien. We know that the specific species of angels or aliens mentioned in the biblical text are men and only men. We know that the angels are divided into 2 distinct groups. We have the first group of angels, which is referred to as the 1/3, and we have the second group of angels referred to as the remaining 2/3. 1/3 plus 2/3 equals 1, meaning all angels are accounted for in the metaphor. The first group of angels, called the Watchers, come down to earth to mate with human women and lose their access to heaven in Genesis chapter 1. The second group of angels is kicked out of heaven at the Battle of Armageddon, which is substantiated by the fact that Satan still has access to heaven all the way through the book of Revelation, and is even read going up and down heaven in the book of Job. Just to be clear, they're all bad guys. However, we've been deceived into believing that one is good and one is evil. This is often depicted in pop culture like this. In this picture, we see that an angel is on one shoulder and a demon is on the other. Although both are on different sides, the angel and the demon are left out of the mind, meaning neither has access to the divine mind, aka the Holy Spirit, aka the kingdom of heaven that resides in me and you. Putting all of that together, then we get that Adam and Eve are not the first people. The first people did not reproduce by way of sex. They were fruitful and multiplied by way of willing it to be so through chaos or oneness. Then angels, aka interdimensional beings, aka aliens, came to earth to have sex with women, which was a previously unknown process to them. This act of aliens having sex with earth women disrupted chaos, which was previously only good. This disruption of chaos or oneness created duality, therefore awakening the knowledge of good and evil.
praying because I'm trying to show up for Ice Spice like I'm just praying because I'm trying to show up for Ice Spice like I'm
think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation. The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse." And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time. This is what it's like when a species prepares to move on to the next dimension.
just praying because I'm trying to show up for Ice Spice like I'm Christian. Nah, I'm just no. I'm gonna just say this prayer so the Lord can protect us as we go through the rest of the night and the rest of our careers. You know what I'm saying? So everybody hold hands. Hold hands, hold hands. Lord, thank you so much for bringing this amazing group together right now with this amazing stream and our amazing teams, Lord. We are all from the same place and we are all trying to get to the same place, which is the top. And we all want to experience different things in our lives, chat. So thank you so much for bringing all of us together. And I pray that you allow us to grow on other people, on each other. And I pray that you allow us to reach any measures in this life. And you just watch over us daily. You bless us. You allow us to bless other people with our work and our amazing craft. And you help us enjoy this night. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Listen, Anna, we need a bottle of rosé. Listen, shout out to all my Don Julio. What the fuck?
Dr. Van France, we said earlier that a man with the mother complex fantasizes on an ideal woman who will fulfill his fantasies, gratify all his infantile desires. He wants a girl just like the girl that married dear old dad. How does that mother complex affect his personal relationships with a woman?
When a man has a mother complex, he's generally a split animal. Namely, on one side, his feminine side is, he worships the feminine image too much. It's a kind of Virgin Mary or feminine Holy Ghost figure, the pure, wonderful woman, so to speak. And the other is the prostitute, with whom he has sex, but whom he thoroughly despises. This kind of split in the animal between the Virgin Mary and the prostitute is typical for the mother complex. And such men then, if they have to approach a woman, they don't know how to do it, because the one they admire too much, she's too pure, you can't stretch out your hand and touch her, and the other is easily conquered, but no partner really, just something to have sex with. And such men have also in their own way trouble to relate to women because of that split animal situation.
Is promiscuity in a male connected with this split?
I think the promiscuity has to do with something else. It's simply that the conventional Christian barriers have been pulled down, and the young generation now is experimenting with sex all over the place. And you meet among those men and young women who are promiscuous all sorts of constellations, mother complex, father complex, all sorts of. It's a more general factor, this experimenting nowadays, because the Christian barriers against sex have been pulled down. But then in the individual case, such a man would, for instance, date a girl who has a huge father complex and is therefore unapproachable, or a Rapunzel who is unapproachable in a tower, and always hesitate to go closer to her, or would even try to go to bed with her and not succeed. And he would still be attached to that girl and have cheap sexual affairs on the other side, which do not satisfy him That would be the situation in such a man.
In Western psychology, the dragon almost always represents a man's mother complex. And every heroic journey in the West consists in large part of slaying dragons and rescuing fair maidens who have been captured by the dragon. And most young men have to go out and rescue a goodly number of fair damsels in actual physical form. And any girl who is worth her salt knows this about a boy and will arrange incidents for him to rescue her, because he needs to rescue a fair damsel. And she also needs to be rescued. Now, the introvert forms of this are much more solitary, and one is less likely to go out and win fair maiden against terrible competition or awful perils to his life. The introvert will work these things out, again, very privately in those interior struggles. It's just as good to conquer a mother complex in the form of a mood as it is to conquer one's mother complex in a great tournament or ordeal of strength or something like that. The mother complex in a man is that quality which would defeat him. It's his moodiness, it's his defeatist attitude, it's the quitter in a man. It's the thing that wants to crawl back into the safety of childhood and be taken care of. As a friend of mine put it, he said, it's that thing in me that wants to pull the covers up over my head when I wake up in the morning and play as if the world isn't there. Every man, whether he be introvert or extrovert, has a big battle with his mother complex. If he loses that battle, he isn't worth his salt the rest of his life.
What is the difference between the Grail Castle and the womb of the mother?
I think the two are practically synonymous, one inside and the other outside. And a boy has to leave his personal mother and his mother complex and that stupid homespun one-piece garment in order to earn the right to the archetypal mother, which is the Grail Castle and the Grail. Which is to say, you have to leave the Garden of Eden before you can get to the heavenly Jerusalem. And it's a hell of a journey in between.
Lord, 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 nothing I did, nothing I tried, nothing I smoked, nothing I snorted, nothing I drank, no man I did, no one did me, nothing did me any good. Oh, Lord, even that food, the food I put in my mouth wouldn't help me, Lord.
Everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Time to tap in now.
Woo!
You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. Time to tap in now. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic. Your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer. Tapped in with the Hood Mystic. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.
Let me see those hands in the air.
You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.
I project myself outside of myself, and I talk to myself when I'm speaking.
We are here for another video. It's Monday. That means that them kids is back to school and it's back to the maintenance. So as you and your sneaky link lay up after dropping the kids off at school, maybe y'all can tune in and tap into some hood mystic, talk this metaphysical, psychological mumbo jumbo. One's in the chat if you can hear me okay. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Like the video if you haven't liked the video. Share the video because you know it's going to be a banger. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Shout out to all the baby mamas. Shout out to all the baby daddies. We about to get psychological, meaning that we're going to study the soul. And we are going to understand some shit, man. I'm telling y'all, I got a reaction video actually today. And in the space of reacting to this video, I will be giving some of my personal opinion to the content. I seen this video a couple of days ago. I shared it and ain't nobody want to touch it with a 10 feet put. What? How do you ever say that? 10-foot pole, right? I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when we talking about our moms, this is sacrilegious, blasphemous conversations. For most people, their mother is perfect. Their mother needs to be worshipped, idolized, put on a pedestal. And if you do that, that's perfectly fine. I understand it. Some people depend on their mom for their livelihood, for shelter. So in this space, doing shadow work around your mom is going to be very difficult. So with that being said, trigger alert, trigger warning. Be prepared to look at your relationship with your mom differently if you're going to understand, overstand, and understand what I'm even talking about. This is not to bash Black women. This is not to bash women. This is not to bash anybody, but to provide the missing pieces from my perspective, from my psychological perspective. And now I am self-studied. I've been studying self-psychology for years. I mean, that's just my pleasure and passion in life. And when it comes to spiritual people, when it comes to people that's on this spiritual path, one of the things that nobody really talks about is the concept of individuation. If you don't individuate, I don't care if you're 40 years old, 50 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, 20 years old. I don't care what your age is. You could be 16. It does not matter. If you don't properly and fully individuate, you will not know who you are. And when I mean that you don't know who you are the property of your parents. They own you in your way of thinking, in your way of behaving, in your way of just knowing what your future, what your path is going to be. It is not your path, it is your parents' path. The reality and the rub of this is that your parents, they take care of you for a large percentage of your time and they create the fundamental ideologies for you. So you most grown people is just grown children. They're only doing the things that they would do. Not they doing the things that they can do now that they got money, but they couldn't do when they was a kid. right? So to individuate, it means to fully understand who you are at a spiritual level. So when discussing human development, we're all humans. We all have to develop into spiritual beingness. It's not just this natural thing that naturally occurs. Most people stay in this space, family centered, family oriented, doing everything for your family, the family warrior, but then at the same time be the black sheep. I don't know how that works, but that tends to be the regular schedule of things. So, when discussing human development, individuation refers to the process of forming a stable personality. So, if you haven't individuated consciously, most people individuate, but it's through rebellion. It's through, well, damn, I guess these motherfuckers ain't going to help me. One's in the chat. Well, damn, I guess I'm out here on my own. One's in the chat. That you then have to develop something. But if that is your mode of individuation, that does not form a stable personality. That forms an unstable personality. It forms somebody who hasn't specifically separated from the parents. So, in that, there is the psychological need for nurturing, for comfort, from love, from a person that probably isn't able to give that to you. And because they're not able to give that to you, that creates instability in your psychology. As a person individuates, they gain a clear sense of the self, which is separate from their parents. So when we do shadow work, and I want to plug this, the QR code is in the lower left-hand corner. The link is in the description. When you do shadow work in reference to your mother wound, right, you're able to see who you are from a past life perspective. So in this lifetime, you are your mother's child. But in previous lifetimes, you weren't your mother's child. You could have been the parent. Your parent could have been your lover. Your parent could have been a nigga that punched you in the mouth in a previous lifetime. Cold cocked you in the mouth. And now this person is your father. This person is your mother. So with all that being said, our identity as spiritual beings, when connected to our parents, is not right and exact. You have an archetypical mother or a spiritual mother that you never get to deal with because the mother in the 3D, the mother in this lifetime, is so ubiquitous, so inundating in reference to who you are. Who you are, right? Think about this, right? You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And your mother or your father or whoever your parent is just the vehicle for you to enter into the world. And they may take care of you. Sometimes they don't even take care of you in the ways that you need to be taken care of. Yet and still, you still feel like these people created you. But when you get into deep meditation, when you get into outer body experiences, you start to realize I've existed in another lifetime, in another form, in another body, in another reality. And my mother was nowhere around. So who am I really? These are the questions that spiritual beings must ask themselves all the time. And if you see family members on the spiritual path, those are scam artists. Usually, when you see people on the spiritual path, very rarely, I will almost say never, is it in reference to your wife, your husband, your parents, or your children. because who you are as a spiritual being is not connected to them. In this life, in this reality, you are connected to your family. But in the grand scheme of things, you are a spiritual being. So individuation rather is a process of coming into that reality, basically. So with all of that intro, let's get into our video that we're going to be reacting to. Let me go ahead and put the link in the chat. I'm gonna also put the link in the description for people who want to watch this video without any reaction. So it's in the description and it's in the chat. Well, never mind. I'll do it post live. It's giving me a hard time. This video is from Grown Woman Experience. Noriel is her name, I think. Um, Anyways, I watch her, like, I'm subscribed to her YouTube channel and I watch her videos from time to time. But this video really, like the thumbnail and the title, moved me to press play and listen. And my brain just started to fire in different solutions, different healing modalities, different ways that this could be looked at differently. And it was just sitting on my heart. And usually when I have things sitting on my heart, I tend to share, right? So that's basically what I'm doing. Once again, this video is not in the spirit of bashing, but this is for anybody who has a mother. We all have mothers, and our mothers are not perfect, and our mothers was probably in the back seat, you know, getting the raw sex missionary style. And voila, we've entered into this dimension. Sometimes I would say for melanated people, it's very rare that our parents plan for us to enter into this reality. So we're here, trying to make it right with our parents. And that is a game that nobody can win. If you're a child, we all are children of somebody. It is not your responsibility for them to be the parent to you. So as spiritual beings, what we'll tend to do is we'll be the parent in the situation. Like if I didn't have a father, in order to cope, I had to create narratives of why he wasn't around. Me as a child have no idea of the interworkings of the adult construct that I'm witnessing, yet I feel so responsible for my parents' disposition, their joy, their happiness, their sadness. If I would behave, if I get good grades, if I create a business or become a famous child star, I can help my parents out with the bills. One's if y'all ever felt responsible for the bills at a young age. Not like you could do anything about it, but you thinking like, damn, what can I do in this little child body to help my mom out with the rent? Right? What can I do in this little child body to stop my mom from feeling so sad? Right? To stop, if it was, I wish it was something that I could do to parent this situation. And what I'm saying is, from that perspective, is nothing that you can do. The days in and the days out where you're not being actively parented, those are traumatic experiences for a young child because it creates an illusion of control that then translates into being an adult and living in an illusionary world where you need people, you're looking to people, you're thinking that this man is going, that you think that this man or this woman really likes you, and you have no idea that they don't give a fuck about you. They fucking people on the side. You know where that comes from? That comes from not understanding the dimensions between you and your parent. And so these are two women that have young boys, older boys. They have sons, okay? Not single mothers, right? But just regular parents. So I would imagine that being a single mom creates more stress on the situation. I don't have to imagine that. I know that. But even in the context of having children, mother and father, because in society, they'll tell you all you need to do is get married, have a baby, everything works out. But as you will see, even when you are married, these things don't play out the way you want them to play out. Mainly because there is no structure, there is no discipline, there is no responsibility and accountability that the state or the schools don't give a fuck about your black boys. There is not a school in this country that is ran by the government, that is a public school, that gives a flying fuck about your precious little black boy. So the ways for which we connect to our young black men is through rigorous structure and rigorous discipline. A black boy has love within him. The love that he has for himself can only be expressed or displayed through structure and discipline. That's why it'll be some men that will do self-love and they'll get a facial, you know, they'll go on a spa date, they'll get their toes done, they'll get a massage. That's not self-love for a man. Self-love for a man is the rigorous reality that you got to get up out here in this fucking wilderness. You ever walk outside and ain't nobody checking for you, ain't nobody talking to you, cars is whizzing by you, fume, fume. You just standing on a goddamn busy street, ain't nothing happening for you. A man have to figure that out. And your mama not going to save you. If your mama is saving you, like if your mom is providing a safe place for you to rest, she's doing more damage than good. Because when it comes to not surviving, but thriving in this matrix, you have to be disciplined. You have to act in a way that somebody is over your back saying, nigga, you better do this. Nigga, you better do this. Nigga, you better do this. And there is no escape. There is no go back and hide and run away. For a lot of men, they're looking for an escape. They're looking for, I need to run away and hide. So, women, when you get with a man, have you ever felt like this man was simply hiding within the relationship? You're buying the food, you're paying the rent, you're paying the bills, you're doing the things that y'all either should be working together on or he should be taken care of on his own. But it's you that's doing that thing. What you don't know as a woman is that that man is hiding and that man is not viewing you as a lover. He doesn't love you like a woman He loves you like a mom. It's so natural and so ingrained in a man to not take care of you, but to take care of himself. As he takes care of himself day after day after day after day, he creates an umbrella that you can just come up under. Like, oh, it's nice up under here. You got this all for yourself? Yeah. I worked hard every day in the wilderness. I chopped down trees. I fixed bricks. I did all types of shit. Hey, I was once that dude too. I was once that dude too. Cause this is work that I had to do. The mother wound is work that I had to do because I am a mama's boy. You hear me? Mama's boy. I was soft as a goddamn cushiony goose down pillow, boy. I was soft as hell. I did not want to deal with reality. When I went to prison in the county, I couldn't do 10 push-ups. I couldn't knock out 10. I couldn't knock out 10 push-ups. I was 19 years old, the peak of my testosterone. You understand? A lot of things happen to people, and it's grown ass men. Like y'all be with grown ass men. That's not strong. That's not strong. And not strong in the form of protection, but mentally strong. Like I'm gonna get up and do what I need to do strong. Like that is crazy. I know what it's like to be a weak ass nigga and get a girl and be a weak ass nigga in that relationship. That weak ass nigga have a lack of psychological accountability to the mother wound. So I want to preface that as this is my approach to reacting to this video. I'm not just going to be reacting to it and trying to bash and be like, oh, these women this woman that. No, this is really a conversation for men because it's not a man that doesn't have a mom. There isn't a woman that doesn't have a mom. So if you haven't fully did shadow work in reference to your mother wound, if you haven't individuated from your mom, you are her property. And if she regrets bringing you into the world, you'll internalize that. And the reality, if your mom regret bringing you to the world, who gives a fuck? I'm here now, motherfucker. What we gonna do about it? So if you got sons, you a single mom, love them, right? Love them, but don't love them first. Structure, discipline, lack of reward and of bad behavior first. Love them after that. Do cool shit after that. Don't just think that you got to be this cool mom, do everything for your kids' mom. Because if you do not implement structure and discipline, another man, whether it's going to be their boyfriend, y'all can clock that T if y'all want to, or the correction officer is going to be the one that's going to be implementing structure and discipline.
It's 28 and 33. However, I have not enjoyed motherhood. Like, yeah. So first, let me say this. I think there's always two truths, no lies, right? So my two truths are: I love my sons who are adults, 28 and 33. However, I have not enjoyed motherhood. So as we talked about real quick on the podcast, on our live, I was like, my experience as a mom has not been easy. So first of all, I started out as a teen mom. That's difficult in itself. My son's father never really played a part in his life. We were both in high school. So he went on to live his life and move around the cabin, and I had to shift my life. Then I got married. I was in an abusive relationship and then got a divorce. So I have experienced so many different things as a mom that have not been joyous experiences for me.
So laying this out, there is no book, there is no doctor, there is no priest, nowhere you will go and say that motherhood is a joyous experience. I got 5 kids. Every single one of them, when they was born, they cried every night. They all cry at night. You ever, if you think that being a mom is easy, let me just throw that out there. If you like sleeping through the night, having a baby means that you no longer sleep through the night. Like, you will never enjoy parenting. I'm talking about black children need structure, they need discipline. They don't need enjoyable, they don't need enjoyable experiences. Sorry, I had to answer a text message. It's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable. Having kids is not enjoyable. It's not fun. Uh it's not none of that. I don't even know why that's even a thought. It's not reference to nothing. So to go, I just like, because it's some people that don't have kids, and they might think like, "Ooh, that'd be cute if I get me a little baby, dress her up, throw on the little, Louis Vuitton baby shit, and get her on Instagram." I'm letting you know right now that shit is not real. I'm letting you know right now, kids is about to challenge you to your brink. And I'll also say, if you're not prepared to structure and discipline your life, structure and discipline your child's life, there is no solution for you. Because the chaos that comes from kids is is enormous. Kids are extremely chaotic, and you have to channel their chaos. What I notice from a lot of parents is this, what is called soft parenting. One's in the chat if you ever heard of soft parenting. That might be a new concept to people. And I feel like this is the norm because we grew up in a generation where we got our ass beat. Like, I got my ass whooped. One's in the chat if you got your ass whooped. To whereas we say, I thought I'm not going to whoop my kid's ass like I got my ass whooped. One's in the chat. And I still don't whoop my child. I still don't do that. But you gotta find a middle ground with this shit. You gotta find a middle ground because the chaos within a child is enormous. Even the most brilliant, wonderful kids are filled with chaos that has to be sorted through. And if you don't sort it, they become even more emotional. So sorry, doing the text message. So even deeper, like, we'll have this way of like, I ain't gonna raise my kids like I was raised. I ain't about to, I ain't about to do that to my kids. And then your kids will be like, all right, that's what I need right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, your kids, like, I need a parent like your dumbass. I'm about to run all over your goofy ass. So we hit them with the soft parenting, gentle parenting, a parenting style that focuses on building a positive connection with children and guiding them with empathy, respect, and understanding. That works only when they have that for you. If they don't have that for you, listen, I know that we imagine that our kids are going to be us, but our kids are either angels or demons. And they're like, good, you can't say shit like that. It's demons out here in the world, and they all somebody's kids, and they all didn't come from bad households. Sometimes a person's soul is their soul. And you, as a parent, you should be able to perceive that person's soul and say, all right, little demon, I ain't going to do nothing but structure and discipline your ass. I'm not going to let the demon have his way. I'm not going to let the chaos have his way. No, nigga. You every time you act out, I'm on your ass. Every time you think that it's okay, I'm on your ass. And if you want to escape from my discipline, if you want to escape from my strictness, then nigga, that's what you're going to have to do. But when you gentle parent a generation alpha, when you gentle parent a soul, that soul is not cultivated, it's not being alchemized from the negredo to the gold. It stays in the lower energy spaces, the lower emotional spaces, and it's our mom's fault. And not in a way where we place the blame, but we have to know as spiritual beings that our moms did not have the tools to even, we didn't get what we needed as children. So if you don't get what you need as children, that's not your fault either. Because I'm telling you, in successful cultures, they is not letting the children do whatever the fuck they want to do. One's in the chat. If you ever observed a successful family, that successful family is not successful because the prisoners run the jail. The patients don't run the asylum, right? There has to be somebody on top of this shit saying, hey, no, we not doing that. We not doing this. And the problem is, what I've noticed, what I've observed, it's a lot of love. It's a lot of love. I love you. I love you too, mommy. I love you, baby. Mama love you. I love you. Your son don't need fucking love because he cannot in this world. If he can't protect himself with love, he need to know how to protect himself physically. He need to tap into that vicious side of him, that warrior side of him, that strength, that masculine energy, and it needs to be channeled. Cause it's a lot of children in the graveyard that was loved by their mom. It's a lot of children in the prison system that was loved by their mom. But I'm telling you, if you watch this live, the words structure, the words discipline are not mentioned. I watched it. I even listened to the qualities of her husband. He was laid back and cool. He gave unconditional love. That's how she describes her husband. As a man, as a father, if the mother is 100% unconditional love, you got to be 100% structure and discipline. That's how it used to be. Now, we don't go further as a people going further into the wrong way. We just going to get more wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. And I say all of this to say we need to go back to how it was. And if we have structure and discipline, then we can progress as the Black family. But letting your kids wear leggings and twerk and have phones and have access to TikTok and Instagram, and they not even 18 yet, and what, you can't tell your kids you ain't getting them a phone, you can't use the phone, they gonna call you a stupid bitch, they gonna run away from home, they gonna trash their fucking room, they gonna make life a hellhole for you. But at the same time, we are ruining our children with these technological devices. Their brains ain't even mentally prepared to understand it. And now these kids, they can't even focus more than 10 seconds. They go from one thing to another thing to another thing. I do not let my children use phones. Not around me. If they get phones, it's around somebody else. But around me, they ask me for my phone 20 times a day. No. No. All you going to do is get on TikTok, get on YouTube, and be on Reels, that stupid Mr. B shit, have some fucking quirky little memes. No. Ain't no reason that a black child should be using a phone. And the reason that you won't tell them, no, you can't use this phone is because you as a parent don't have structure or discipline.
Becoming a teen mom, in your opinion, in hindsight being 2020, kind of set your life on a path of having to pick up the pieces to figure it out, and you maybe didn't ever find your footing from your teenage years.
No, not until now, and I'm 51 years old.
And motherhood, you feel like was the that's kind of what you spent your time doing.
Absolutely.
You were so focused on raising children that you didn't necessarily have time to raise yourself or figure out who you were.
Absolutely. So you have to understand, I was headed to college when I found out I was pregnant. I was almost in my last year of high school.
Let's just throw this out there. If you're under 18, if you 18, 19, 20, 21, and you're with a guy that's your same age, that guy that's your same age is only in the relationship. Young women, you know, when a guy is with you and all he want to do is have sex with you. Women, y'all know that. Once in the chat, you know when a guy is just talking to you when he only want to have sex with you. If you don't understand the game, if you don't understand how this shit works, then that relationship 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 is going to scar you for the rest of your life. It's going to scar you because now what happens? You 28, 29, 30, and what are you sensitive about? You sensitive about a guy that only wants to have sex with you. You can notice, oh, this dude. And then you're like, I can't deal with you because you only want to have sex, not knowing that sex, every guy that talked to you because he's a heterosexual, he have some sexual attraction to you. But you will rule a man out for being sexually attracted because you have been scarred, you have been wounded by having sex before. And it's not to say I feel that, you know, from the beginning of time, women have been getting married at that age. So I'm not saying marriage will scar you, but casual sex at a young age, thinking that is pointless, thinking that is easy, thinking that is fun, thinking that is good, is only going to scar you because 90% of the time that relationship's not going to work out. And now you have to deal with the psychological damage or kids that you don't want. So when you have sex and you have sex for pleasure, you can't then double back and say, damn, I want kids. I want kids. And let's also say that when a man is married to you, he marries you. Part of him marrying you is he sees you as a mother because that's how it goes. Wife and mother, mother, wife. And if you don't want to be in these paradigms, don't get married, right? If you don't want to have kids, be a lesbian because you can deal with 100,000 lesbians and never get pregnant, never have a kid. But when you have sex with a man, you marry a man, you're putting yourself in the mode of having kids. That pleasure that you experience in 1987, it's goddamn 2024, and you got a 30-year-old demon on the fucking streets. And then if you ask, well, why did you have this kid? Because his daddy's dick was big. What do you mean? His daddy had that good cock. That's why I had him. Because we can go on Twitter right now. I'm in communities of over sexualized women on the Twitter spaces, talking about their relationships, talking about their kids, talking about, well, you know, since I got kids, I'm still trying to get into another relationship with another guy. And you know what's lost on this whole conversation? The kids. Because the kids are just something that comes with sex nowadays. But that to me is detrimental. That to me is very, that to me is very chaotic. Another thing that's not brought up in this lot or in this video is their relationships with their mother, right? That's the missing piece, right? We all got moms. So before you get closer to a person, before you get closer to a man, deal with his relationship with his mom. Before you get closer to a woman, deal with that relationship with a mom. Because if the relationship is not strong, if the relationship is not potent, there is no way that they have the dynamics to have a strong, potent relationship with you.
I found out I was pregnant by accident, to be completely honest. And now I have to shift from, I'm no longer going on to college. I'm not going to look at colleges anymore. I'm not going on that journey with my counterparts as far as schoolmates are concerned, right? Now my sole focus, when I crossed that stage at graduation and got my diploma, there was a stroller on the other side with my son in it. So I had to redirect my entire life. So I did go back to college, but at that time now I'm a mom, I'm a professional, I got a side hustle, I'm newly married. So now I'm not having that journey alone as Kendall, but I'm having that journey as a mom and a wife and a business owner, and also someone working in corporate America.
With all of those responsibilities that never allowed you the freedom to just ever really focus on yourself.
Never. I said.
So this is the thing that I hope women in relationships with men or married women with children start to really prioritize. Hey, talking to your husband. Hey, I'm waking up at 6:00 and I'm going to walk with the girls. Then I'm going to the gym. I'll be back at 9. I need you to wake up and drop the kids off at work while I take care of me. And then once the kids is off of school, we gonna have to do opposite days of helping them with their homework, right? Because at 5 to 8, I got my women's group where we do intense healing modalities. And yeah, I got my sister circle. I can't mix that. If you with a man that says, no, bitch, you can't wake up at 6:00 in the morning and take care of yourself. No, bitch, you can't be in a sister circle group. Then you automatically know you in the wrong relationship. But I guarantee you, your husband will say, okay, baby, just let me know what else you need. Because as a man, I want the best for my wife. I want my wife to wake up and take care of herself. Because at the end of the day, if I'm a man in a relationship with my kids, my wife can do whatever she want in reference to if that's what she needs to do. Because I personally want to take care of the kids. I want to be a stay-at-home daddy. If we want to be real, because I like structure and discipline. I like order. I like setting up things for the kids. I like to pre-game my whole day, factor in the kids, and say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is going to benefit the kids in this way. This is going to benefit me. I try to do a lot of family-centered things, like going to the YMCA, where we all can, like, I can bring the whole family to YMCA, right? And we could all do things in reference to recreation, get stronger, things of that nature, swim, do all of that type of shit. So to me, I feel that when women say, because I got these kids, and I understand if you're a single mom, I'm not talking to single moms, but a lot of times it be women who not single moms that be in the mindset of a single mom, like, I got these kids and I can't do nothing besides take care of these kids. But you got to be sure that you put it out there that you want to do other things for yourself. Now, if your husband say, bitch, you better get back to that kitchen, I don't think that's a good idea, you working out by yourself or whatever the case may be. You know when a nigga is on bullshit. and then you got to act accordingly. But I'm just saying, it would be hard for me to imagine a man saying, "No, baby, don't better yourself. No, baby, I want you to be, I want you to be slaves to me and slaves to these kids." But what I'm also saying is, damn, it's okay to take care of your kids. It's okay to pour into your kids. It's okay to have the structure and plan every day for your kids that they abide by, that you abide by, that they can count on. Structure and discipline are important for boys because they help them develop life skills, self-control, and the sense of responsibility. And I want y'all to pay attention to this as we go further into this video.
Say motherhood is the hardest and the longest job that you'll ever have with no days off. You don't get any sick time, PTO, and sometimes it's a thankless job as well.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
And I don't the expectation.
Absolutely. And I think I've always been very honest about my motherhood journey, where my friends.
I would say it's a thankless job if you do not protect or prepare your young boy for life. He's not going to thank you because he's going to see what I seen once I became an adult is everybody like families supporting individuals. Families like, oh, we got you, we got you, we got you, we gonna hold you down, you know, like that structure and discipline that was always instilled at a young age, they run laps around you when you become an adult. Like money managing as a man without structure and discipline, you'll just be like a broke 20-year-old grown ass man can't manage money. Where does that come from? It comes from this mother wound. It comes from not even understanding how important it is for you not to play video games, for you not to waste your time, for you to be so consistent, to work so hard, to be so intentional that if you don't, the motherfucking sharks will come eat your ass. Your ass be missing an ass out here in these streets. It's not a game for men. It's not a game for women, but for sure for men, because like for everybody. And that's why I feel like this is so powerful to do for individuals, because at least you not being held back by somebody who didn't even want to be your mom in the first place. They just wanted to get an orgasm in the back of your daddy's Lincoln Continental. They wanted to bust a hot nut on a Saturday night. Oh, that felt so good. Now here you come. Oh, I didn't even know I was supposed to have a baby. I was just trying to bust a quick one. Damn, I'm pregnant. Okay, let's make the best of it. Nah, that's going to have you fucked up majorly.
Would laugh at me, but I'm like, I would rather be 100% real about this, because I know at some point someone has to come to me and say, girl, I feel like that too. And that's what I'm hearing on this platform, because I'm not afraid to say the quiet parts out loud. Like at this age, I'm not trying to impress anyone. And I've always been genuinely me and 100%. So yeah.
So when I had my first son, I was literally, my story is the opposite of yours.
Okay.
I had my first son at 35, right? So literally opposite. And maybe same week postpartum, I remember thinking to myself, I'm 35 years old, right? And I'm thinking, how the hell are these 16-year-olds having babies? How in the world can a teenager even mentally wrap her mind around the dedication, the commitment, the sacrifice that it takes to literally give your life to someone else? That is why I am so vocal on my platform about the responsibility of parenting, that this ain't cute. Having a baby, they're literally a baby for less than a year. That ain't even cute.
Real.
You know, the pictures are cute, but the process, it is not cute.
Not at all.
We are not honest about it. We celebrate bad decisions. We want to talk about things once it's too late, and we're trying to pick up the pieces. And I'm all about preventative. Like, let's have these conversations, uncomfortable conversations on the front end, so we can prevent these painful realities on the back end.
Absolutely.
Because no one is winning.
No.
The child is surviving. The mother is literally surviving, but 9 times out of 10, you're not happy.
No.
You know, and an unhappy mother.
Y'all need to chill. I promise y'all, you need to chill on happiness. Because like, let's just break this down. Let's just look at this from a realistic point of view. Happiness is typically a more fleeting emotion, often sparked by a particular moment or event that brings a sense of excitement or exhilaration. What does pushing a baby out of your wet, juicy vagine speak to being happy? What about nursing? Nursing is a little baby biting on your nipple. That's what nursing is. That nigga is biting on your shit. Your shit is going to be raw to the touch. Y'all know how on Instagram it's all like, yeah, I'm nursing. I'm in my feminine glory. In real life, that girls be like, oh my, they just be laid up in the bed. Just laid up in the bed. The baby just be laid back, sucking on titties. Exhausting. I'm just telling you the real of it, because the internet is going to have you looking for happiness from a fucking baby, from being a parent. Why can't we as a society talk about joy? Joy, on the other hand, is a more long-lasting state of being characterized by contentment and satisfaction with life overall. She's saying the quiet part, but I don't think she's saying the quiet part. The quiet part is that I'm unhappy with myself, and my kids are perfect projections of my unhappiness within myself and my decisions. When I say that that's the nastiest work, I mean like that is the nastiest work of all, because your parents might not like themselves. And they never have to examine themselves because your ass is a chaotic spiritual being just brought to the earth on a spiritual mission that may or may not have nothing to do with your parents, but yet and still, your parents could be the ultimate roadblock to wherever you want to be, whatever you want to be in life. Because the projection and the internalization become one and the same. I know I said words that might go over here, so let me just reiterate. If I'm unhappy with myself, I cannot handle that. I can't handle the fact that Kyrie, you made a mistake for fucking Big Daddy Jenkins in the back of that Lincoln Continental. So I come up with some reality. Oh, it wasn't that bad, whatever. And I know it's bad, but it wasn't whatever. And then I see somebody fucking in the back of a Lincoln Continental. I run up to the car. What you doing in the back of this Lincoln Continental? And you like, damn, I'm just sitting here smoking a blunt with the fan. Why you so mad? Oh, I was triggered. Why you triggered? Because I was in the back seat of a Lincoln Continental with my ass up. Oh, okay. So whenever your parents got mad at you and they tore off in your ass, they went crazy. You might have did something, right? But their response wasn't in reference to what you did. It was in reference to how they feel. And most people don't get into the psychology. Most people get into therapy, but therapy is almost like, I'm leaving one room and going to another room. But psychology is saying I'm walking outside of the house and I'm looking at the house in totality. And it's our responsibility to be our own psychologist because it's our responsibility to study our own soul. Nobody can study your own soul. So what psychology tends to do in that Western exoteric form is that it will talk about a lot of behavior, a lot of different ideologies and things like that, a lot of studies and stuff like that. But the reality is this. Psychology means the study of the soul, the study of the mind. And ain't nobody in your mind. Don't nobody have access to your soul but you. So in reference to this, if nobody understands that and understands that, 10 times out of 10, they got a lot of anger, shame, resentment, and all of this anger, shame, and resentment, it goes directly funneled to the child. When you yelling at your child and you mad at your child, how could you actually be mad at your child? That is an innocent spiritual being that had no say so on how they were going. They didn't make you get cracked in the back of the Lincoln Continental. You did that on your own accordance. You said it was going to feel good, and now you got a kid, and now you got to deal with those life decisions. And every difficult occurrence that you deal with, you're putting that on that kid. And for most kids, it's every single day, nonstop. They know when they get out of school, come home, they gotta kiss their mama's ass. They gotta kiss their daddy's ass. They gotta hear people yelling. Gotta deal with all of this chaos. And a deeper reality is that, man, we would love some structure and discipline. We would love somebody to care about us, to help us reach our goals. This is why it's very important to individuate. So therefore you can begin to apply that structure and discipline to yourself and then your subsequent offspring.
Impacts a child times 10.
I agree.
So how old you were a teen when you had your first son? Then you had your second son.
Yes.
Do you feel like that set you back on maybe progress that you might have made, or what was that process of becoming a mom of two like?
It became, oh God, here I am again. Like, I didn't want to have another child. My ex-husband begged me to have a child. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I feel like I'm almost getting my footing at 20 plus years old, still young, but now I'm adding another child in it and more responsibility. And then I have to take accountability for the fact that I wasn't loving myself enough to leave a low vibrational relationship. So I have to be accountable for that, right? But at the same time, I'm like, this is my husband. We don't have any children together. You want this picture perfect. Like, oh, I'm married now. I'm not just a teenage single mom. I'm married.
That's a weird flex. You get married to a man and it's him pressuring you to have a baby. I could see if it was a nigga on the side of the street, your boyfriend, a nigga that you just met at the bar talking about, I want to have babies with you. That's pressure. But your husband wanting to have kids is kind of just how it goes. But the narratives and the conversations and the mention of accountability is not the actual mode of accountability. Part of accountability is empathy towards your partner. I said part of accountability is having empathy towards your partner. What is being married to a man and not wanting to have his children? What does that say? Does that say empathy or does that say lack of empathy? Of course, if you don't want to have children, once again, don't get married to a man. Because I'm telling you, if a man wants to get married, part of his reasoning for getting married or even want to get married, walking you down the aisle, paying for a wedding, moving you into a home is so that his child can be formed in the modality of wedlock. So please don't shame your husband for wanting a kid under the confines of wedded bliss. That means that y'all moving the goalposts all over the football field. And when we trying to kick a field goal, we don't know where to kick the fucking field goal because the goalpost is in the fucking stands. You can't complain about kids and you done got married. That's like, I wanted to get married, but I didn't want to have kids. That's kind of like saying I want to go outside in the rain, but I don't want to get wet. Because it's a lot of couples that want to get married that can't have babies, that want to have babies, then they just can't. So if he wants to have babies, a lot of time a man just want to feel like, damn, can I have kids? A lot of times a woman feels like, damn, can I have babies? That's a real thing. So once it happens, then there has to be a plan in reference to how this kid is not going to end up in jail, which is not being implemented, and we'll see that.
Have a kid, but it's a fallacy, and I don't think people really want to tell the truth about that. And it's children together. You want this picture perfect, like, oh, I'm married now. I'm not just a teenage single mom. I'm married. I have a kid, but it's a fallacy, and I don't think people really want to tell the truth about that.
And a lot of times it's control, it's manipulation.
Absolutely.
I want to see you pregnant. Well, give me a baby too. So much comes behind that. And nobody gets married with the expectation that you're not going to be married forever, right?
Absolutely.
But God forbid something does happen. If you are not 100% on board to have this baby, 9 times out of 10, you have to be 100% responsible for this baby.
And I have been, even as an adult. His father, like once we got divorced, the co-parenting thing, I tried to co-parent in a very mature way.
We got to be careful when we get on these platforms and we start talking about our significant other in a way where they're not there to defend themselves. And it put me in the right. Right? That's nasty work. I was a good co-parent and my husband was not. I'm about to play this video and I'm about to show you how maybe she was a cunt in the situation.
Ex-husband, on the other hand, he did not. To the point where I would have to unplug the phone in the mornings because he would call and rile my younger son up, and he did not.
You hear that? Like if I want to call my son and wish him a good day at school or whatever the case may be, I want to talk to my kid. And when I'm talking to my son and my son say, "Daddy, I want you here," or I want to be with you, or whatever the case may be, I can't control that. I'm just calling to say, "Hey, have a good day, son," and she unplugging the phone. That's cunt behavior to me. That's toxic behavior, because I understand the courts and the court orders and the stuff like that, but usually you don't even need to do that. Usually you just need two people to say, well, we're not going to be together, but I want to be in the kid's life. And a lot of times a woman will say, we're not going to be together. That means you don't want to be in these kids' life. And that's a conflation that them say, well, he don't want to be in your life, baby. And I unplugged the phone. You know what I'm saying? I disconnected the phone service. I moved to another city. Yeah, your daddy don't want to be with you, baby. I done changed my name. I done got a whole new identity. I done put plastic surgery on the baby. See, your daddy don't love you, baby. He don't want to be with you no more. And a lot of times, I'm gonna tell you the real to real truth. A lot of this parenting bullshit come from a situation. Y'all not gonna like this, but it's the truth. Where a woman is mad at that man, and her only ammo is playing games with the kids. Because a lot of times, I don't think that men don't want to be with good women. Y'all can never convince me of that. What I see, though, is a lot of unprocessed trauma showing up as anger, showing up as unlivable, unhappy relationships, and a man saying, all right, I don't want to be in this situation that's toxic and not good for nobody. We always arguing, we always fighting. I'm going to move on. So, in that, I don't think that all of the toxicity, all of the chaos that comes between two people that haven't been psychologically healed or not psychologically sound, I don't think that men just don't want to be with their kids. I think that a lot of times the revenge or the get back is creating a distance between the kid and the dad. Because what I've noticed and what I've observed is that if the mom don't like the dad, she might low key. And some people will say, "Well, I don't never do that." Okay, cool. Some people don't do it, but some people absolutely make it to whereas the kids don't like the dad because the mama don't like the dad. In the effort that we could work to be together, or the effort that we could, build this family up, is just not there. And it's usually two people that's just so toxic towards one another. But at the same time, that don't mean that the dad don't care about the kids because me and you don't work out. A lot of times what you will notice is that the kids love their dad, the dads love their kid. And if the kids love their dad, guess what? The mom loved the kid, the mom loved the dad too. But when you don't do your shadow work, you're going to ruin a relationship with a good man. That's what usually happens. You Cause you in a relationship with a guy, you having sex with a guy, he might not be perfect, but he a good man. But that's not the first guy you've been with. And when it comes to, triggering you, if you can't handle your triggers, if you can't go to that journey within, if you can't find happiness within yourself, which is joy, then you'll hold this man responsible for how you feel. And that's how women end up leaving or losing good men because they don't do shadow work. And of course, on the internet, they gonna and not even on the internet, in your real life, when you don't do shadow work, you in a mode of projection. Like that's your whole mode. Your whole mode is looking for somebody to be mad at, right? So projections evoke unpleasant emotions like anger, frustration, and irritability, and it causes you to feel resentment towards others. Projecting your feelings puts the focus on what others are doing, which we cannot control, rather than your own emotions over which we do hold sway. So, whatever reason you come up to say, oh, yes, my baby father is a bad person, and that's why I'm angry. That's why I'm mad. That's projecting. You're only in control of your own emotions. You're only in control of your own joy. If your baby daddy came home with 17 hookers, it might be disturbing, it might be alarming, but yet and still, these are your emotions. These are your feelings. If you allow another person, quote unquote, to move you outside of how you feel, you don't get no award for that. You don't get no trophy for that. Nobody come knock on your door. Like, what did that nigga do? That's why you was enraged, girl. Here go $5,000. It don't work like that. You have to do shadow work. You have to get to a point where you connected with your soul and can't nobody sway that or move that. Conversations like this is extremely nasty because it's rooted in projection, rooted in the lack of shadow work, rooted in the lack of not being psychologically sound. No, no. You can't no, because like I'm not saying that this channel is the center of the universe by a long shot, but postpartum depression is common. Postpartum depression is common. Okay, and most postpartum depression is common and undiagnosed. If you just want to, especially in black women, up to 50% of cases of postpartum depression go undiagnosed. Yo, if you have a doctor in a hospital, they know about postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is serious. if you are not, and it's only, and people don't even know a solution for postpartum depression. What is the cure? Self-help. That's the first cure. That's the first thing you need to do. Self-help. Getting enough sleep, healthy diet, exercise, talking, psychotherapy, antidepressants. Here goes some drugs for you. Support groups. Most people is trying to swing off the muscle, raise kids off the muscle. It's shit out here, trust me. Depending on where you live, depending on how you process shit, it's help out here. But you got to also know that something is wrong. You can't just say, "Oh, it's no resources. Oh, it's just nothing out here. It's just blah, blah, blah. It's just I just gotta crash out. I gotta bust your windows out your car. I gotta be toxic. I gotta be chaotic." No, it's resources. It's conversations. You got Google. You can get books. I don't like that verbiage. That's just me. Give me a second. Sorry about that.
When Michigan brands put their name in lights, there's only one company they trust. That's Phillips. Sign.
Nobody or
The parent that stayed.
Yes.
Yeah, you're picking up the pieces and you're getting all of it. You have to deal with all of it. So not only are you trying to navigate your own feelings,
Absolutely,
leaving a relationship. And ladies, we already know, a bad relationship, baby, it will literally ruin you.
It will.
So to be trying to pick up the pieces for yourself and then trying to help your children navigate a transition as well. Y'all, it is the most difficult, challenging.
Absolutely.
I say to myself often, how are moms not doing drugs? That is not politically correct. But how are y'all surviving?
But that's real.
And y'all, people are doing drugs. That's where the prescription pills, the wine at the soccer game.
Can y'all hear now?
How are you maintaining? Like mentally, it is just so draining.
It is.
And I'm not even a single mom.
Yeah.
And it is tough.
Yeah, I don't think people really recognize or consider the mental well-being of moms.
Where are the resources?
There's no resources. Nobody even wants to discuss how motherhood can impact your mental health. I had a whole conversation on an episode with a therapist with us in therapy, and we had a conversation around how motherhood can affect your mental health. Imagine worrying about someone else all of the time, in addition to the other things that you're trying to juggle. And this is a constant job. And like I told you, just because they become adults, that does not necessarily mean that goes away. That's another level of worry and another level of motherhood at that point. But nobody wants to talk about the fact that motherhood absolutely has an impact on our mental health and our mental well-being. I have PTSD from motherhood.
Whoa. PTSD is a disorder that develops in some people who have experienced a shocking, scary, or dangerous event. Sis said she experienced PTSD from motherhood. I mean, I understand that you could be traumatized, but PTSD is a disorder. Like that's like saying, I'm losing a body part, and if somebody hit me in my leg, I say, "Oh, you just decapitated my leg." Motherfucker be like, "Dog, I just punched you." "No, you cut it off, though. I got a leg. I got it encapsulated." No, I just punched it. No, I don't got a leg no more. I'm just trying to relate to you. This is the thing. Motherhood and you didn't get motherhood from PTSD. Maybe from childbirth. Maybe you experienced some traumatic experiences. But what is the definition of motherhood? Motherhood is the state of being a mother. A person enters motherhood when they become a mother. This most commonly happens when their child is born, but it can also happen through adoption or marrying or becoming a partner to someone with children. Motherhood is a gender specific version of the term of parenthood. Now, she said that she was accountable, but saying motherhood gave you PTSD is like the opposite of accountability. Because I would say that motherhood is a responsibility that is fundamentally the foundation of structure and discipline. Without structure and discipline, without order, you have chaos. You have to come into the real world. You have to understand the dynamics of life. The dynamics of life are structure, discipline, order. Without structure and discipline, order, you're gonna have chaos. So, of course, okay, yeah, it is PTSD, but it's not through motherhood. It's because you don't understand the two forces of life: order and chaos. Order, it's only order or chaos. So looking a certain aesthetic, having a certain heart, having a certain demeanor is going to be your badge or your security clearance to be chaotic. And I'm telling you, most people don't know. I didn't know. I'm knowing and growing into the knowledge, and I've seen it, and it makes sense. Oh, we just got to implement it. Order, structure, discipline. Because I always wanted that. But if I've said it, and with certain women, they like, yeah, I'll try it in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Back to whatever feels good, back to whatever feels comfortable. But man, you can really ruin lives. You can really ruin lives just waking up being random. Waking up, letting your emotions guide you, letting your feelings guide you. As a people, that's why we're going to struggle the most. Everything that don't go our way, we call it PTSD or traumatizing. But what did you do to implement and prepare for what was already chaotic in the first place? If you know that if you don't give a child guide rails, they're going to crash out, implement those guide rails. I'm going to show this and I'm going to play the video one more time. I'm going to show it again. Structure and discipline are important for boys because they help them develop life skills, self-control, and a sense of responsibility.
And I will shout that from the mountaintops.
So talk through some of those challenges, some of those obstacles that you dealt with on your motherhood journey.
Yeah.
That has left you with PTSD, because some of the things that you told me that you have gone through are not things that I've ever heard anybody talk about.
Yeah.
And I just feel like when you never are exposed to people who are living real lives,
absolutely,
you just think everything's supposed to be fun and easy and it'll flow and I'll just get mother's intuition and I'll know all the answers. And no, the hell you won't.
No,
you won't.
No.
So what are some of those things that
I would say? Take the placenta home, dry the placenta, buy everything that you need. You can get everything you need for under $100. You need an air dryer. One of them evaporating things you can get for like $50 on Amazon. You can get a grinder, like a spice maker. You can get that for like $20 on Amazon. And then capsulator. You can Google that. You can get a capsulator for $40. So maybe $120. The placenta is yours. Take the placenta, dry the placenta, crush the placenta, make capsules. Take those placenta capsules. The reason that postpartum depression is so prevalent and there are no real resources is because most women are not taking a placenta home. Motherfuckers is burying a placenta at a tree or giving it to the government for free, and they making 20, or giving them to the hospital rather, than the hospital making 20,000, 50,000, in some cases $100,000 off your placenta, and you just give it away because you don't need it. And then the psychological impact of not taking the placenta pills, not ingesting the placenta, it really does a number on mothers after childbirth and postpartum.
That I got some on my notes, but I want to see if you'll bring them up. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
You know, like we said when we talked before, hey, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So I would say, like I said, with my younger son, and the reason why I bring my younger son up the most is because I've had the most challenges with him. People always say, oh, you have a favorite. It's not a favorite. It's just that one or two of your children are going to require less of your attention than others, right? So it's not about a favorite. It's about the one that you have to be focused on all the time. And most of the time when you're focused on them so much, it's the negative part of it. So we started with, like I said, my ex-husband and I, when we got a divorce, I really tried to be a good co-parent. There was never any discussion about all the turmoil that I had gone through, domestic abuse, etc., him pulling a gun on me. Like, my younger son did not know any of that because that was never a conversation that I wanted to have. I've never bashed either one of their dads because to me, it was not beneficial or conducive for me to have a negative conversation with them about their dads, whether they were there or not. Mm-hmm. That's number one. So my younger son was angry, especially when I moved on. He created this narrative that
How old was he?
He was 8 years old when I got divorced. So he created this narrative that I had cheated on his dad. He's carried that up until now. He's 28 years old. He still talks about that now. And my husband now, who's amazing, we have sat down, had a full-on conversation, laid it out for him, the timeline. Not that I owe him any explanation, but okay, if this is bothering you, let's have a conversation about it. And he's still convinced. And of course, his dad being the type of person that he was, he never tried to correct it, right? So that's number one. Then
it seems as though, this is from my perspective, it's conflicting information, and I need the guys on here. I need the first husband and I need the son to come up on here. Cause like she's projecting a little bit, like, yeah, they think I cheated, but she married to some, you know what I'm saying? Like, it be like that. And I would say, man, when your girl leave you, she done found somebody else new. You know, she most times, you know, she don't just leave you. She don't want, you know what I'm saying? She found somebody. It might not be another husband, but that's just how it works. So, you know, she just playing the innocent role, like, yeah. But if you cheated on my daddy and married another man and then gaslight me like it never happened, like I'm not witnessing what I'm seeing with my own two eyes, I'm just saying some people don't need podcasts at that certain point, like, or at least don't even bring it up, or at least say, look, I had a baby, I had 2 kids, I was married, but the man that I wanted wasn't the man that I had. So I dropped the man that I had and got the man that I wanted. Now we having a whole different podcast episode. Because when it comes to accountability, one of the major aspects of accountability is empathy. How you think your kid's gonna feel after you leave their dad? How you think your husband gonna feel after you saying I'm about to move on and get married to somebody else? Accountability requires empathy and factoring in how other people feel. So I don't really see that in this conversation, personally.
I dealt with a lot of behavioral issues with him, even coming up from elementary school. We relocated here from Florida. And he didn't want to come. He wanted to stay with his dad. It was very hard for me, but at the same time, I'm like, that is your dad. So he stayed with his dad maybe like a year and a half, but he was always here with me. Every single time there would be some type of turmoil. When he came to our home, it was negative every single time. And that has transitioned into him getting into legal trouble. Like I told you before, I have sat in so many courtrooms around the state of Georgia. It's embarrassing. So those are the things that give me PTSD. My son was.
These is one of the things like that's really triggering me that I gotta like, you know, that embarrassing word. When your parent is mad, And she like, you embarrassing me. Stop. That don't have nothing to do with your behavior. That don't have nothing to do with your behavior. That have a lot to do with the reality of the situation, of whatever psychological damage that your son have been experiencing by being with you through the modality of no structure and discipline. Because when he go to jail, when he go to prison, guess what he going to get every single day? When a man goes to prison, when a man goes to jail, can y'all guess in the comments or in the chat what he gets every single day? What he can't avoid every single day? No matter what, every single day. When a man goes to prison, you know what he got to experience? He have to experience structure and discipline. So as I was stating yesterday, but I'm going to say it again, if you got to be the person in your child's life to be the structure and the disciplinarian, then it's better you than a judge. It's better you than a prison warden. It's better you than a sheriff. It's negative. Deal with the negative energy. Get to the source of the negative energy. Right? Figure that part out, because when we do not figure out negative energy and we allow it to grow and fester, it just spirals into criminal behavior. Okay. So if you don't want your children to be structured, to be disciplined and structured by somebody else, you gotta be the bad guy. You gotta be the bad mom. You gotta be the mean mom. You gotta be the evil person. Because what happens is, if you have a disciplinarian in your life, eventually they'll appreciate you for it. Eventually, they'll say, thank you, mom. Thank you, dad. I understand why you treated me the way you treated me when I was younger. I got friends, they keep crashing out. And, I'm just about to close on my fourth business. Thank you for disciplining me. I got friends that went to prison, got friends that went to jail. And mom, you gave me the discipline and structure that I needed so I could, be a success in my life. Man, fuck being these kids' friends. Deal with the shit that you face with, and don't go to sleep. Sometimes in my household, if it's drama, we up till the drama is figured out. Like with my kids, and my kids, they used to like me. Now they can't stand my ass. And they trying to figure out why or what. And this is just the Bordeaux period that I'm experiencing. This is the part of their life where they like, man, I don't like this nigga. And every time I'm up on them, damn, dad, can you give me a break? Nope. Because the warden not going to give you a break. The sheriff not going to give you a break. The goddamn police lieutenant not going to give you a break. The judge not going to give you a break. They going to stroke your dumb ass for being a fucking criminal because you thinking that you could get a break. You think you can slip through the system, slip through the cracks. No, we got to nip all of this shit in the butt now. Because if you get 18 and I'm trying to discipline you and I'm trying to put you in where you need to get to, you're just going to tell me, get the fuck out of my face. I'm grown. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And you're going to really crash out. So if you love your kids, structure, discipline.
Raised in a very nice suburban home in Douglasville, Georgia.
That's not structure or discipline, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a nice home. I know a lot of suburban niggas that crash out every single day. Most of my suburban homies are the simps and the lames of the group. The crash dummies. The niggas that want to be down so bad. Hey, go to the store and do this, da-da-da. Hey, bro, roll the blunt. So once again, buying a kid, giving a kid nice things, not what they need. They need structure and discipline.
My son decided he wanted to act like he grew up in the West End.
We don't ever hear from the moms. We never hear from the moms because now that I'm a mom, I make the assumption, like probably everybody does, that I'm going to teach you the right way to do it. I'm going to raise you right. And how you raise your child, if we're being honest, you can do the best you can, but at the end of the day, they have to make decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, the embarrassment, I can imagine, the blame, the guilt,
The fear.
all of that.
The fear. Imagine your child, you're going into courtrooms and you're seeing your child come out with chains on, chains around their waist. It has been very traumatic, and that's why I say I have PTSD. And nobody wants to have these conversations. And I've been having these.
Well, let's call it PTSD. So you did it to yourself. In the context of physics, chaos is essentially synonymous with disorder, while order represents a structure state. And entropy is a measure of this disorder, meaning that as entropy increases, a system naturally moves towards a state of greater chaos and less order. Essentially, the natural tendency is for things to become more disordered over time. So the reason that we are catching hell more than previous generations is because we do not deal with the facts that things are more chaotic than they were for our grandfathers and grandmothers. And the facts that things are made more chaotic and we don't have a strong ability to do mother womb shadow work, we're trying to figure out what is the safe space or the soft spot where things are just easy, things are just better. But if we understand the law of entropy, we must understand that we must be more ordered and more structured than ever before. We have to be so disciplined and so focused because the world is more chaotic. So, with that being said, the children that we are raising, we can't be less lackadaisical with them. We need to be more ordered because as more time progresses, as crazy as shit is about to get crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. The reality for our lifetime is that we should be more structured, more ordered than ever before. We should be more focused than ever before. We should be more consistent than ever before. Because what you'll notice about your business is struggling. What you'll notice about the job that you're working for and the place that you're working for, they not getting as many sales as they used to get. And they talking about laying people off. You working hard and you're not getting the money that you need to. So what you do in your dates, in your off time, you gotta be so structured. You gotta be so focused. You gotta open up that laptop. You gotta start figuring out how can you provide more structure into your life? How can you get more done in a day? Right? What are the things that you need to get done? And then doing them.
Conversations. So it's not new to me.
Knowing what you know now, though, literally doing like one of those connected dot pictures. Is there anything that you feel like you would have or could have done differently that maybe would have, like a counselor, would you have when you
structure and discipline? Peep how she don't say it.
Divorce. Okay. So because I want to know, how can I don't want to sit in a courtroom with my child.
Yeah.
What is your advice to a mother who does not want to sit in a courtroom with her son?
I don't even have any advice that I could give because
she belongs to the streets.
What do you mean by that?
Who does not, because I want to know, how can I don't want to sit in a courtroom with my child.
Yeah.
What is your advice to a mother who does not want to sit in a courtroom with her son?
I don't even have any advice that I could give because My son came into a home with my husband, and my husband is an amazing man. He's never raised his voice at me. He's the first man in my life, including father, that has shown me unconditional love, right?
I see the chaos now. I see it. I see it whether you married, whether you single, whether you got money, whether you got whether you poor. I can see it clear as day. Like everybody figures, let me get this job, let me make this money, let me have these kids, let me put these kids in school, and we gonna have a picket fence and a dog and mow the lawn, and everything gonna be picture perfect. But with these young boys, sending them to school as if that's a place that's going to discipline them and structure them in the ways that they need to is going to be a complete misnomer. And Dr. Umar, before he became a Pan-Africanist, was an advocate for young Black boys. He coined the term, actually, I'll show it to you, from school to prison pipeline. When Umar first came on the scene, this is why they invited him to podcast back in the day. This was his, that's why he started the school. That's where he got the mojo to say, I'm gonna start a school. Now, this was probably 15 years ago. That school ain't even been built yet. So for whatever reason, he at least could have did an online school, right? Like the school bus looked like the prison bus. The school lunch trays look like the prison lunch trays. You got to stand in line for your school lunch. You got to stand in line for your prison lunch. It's a lot of that shit that make it be one and the same. So, you know, Black people going to feel good about sending their boys to school and things of that nature. But once again, that's not a good place for young boys. And they put you in school with girls too. So you ain't even focus on your education. You focus on the little girls that can wear tights to school and things of that nature. Like you need to be really doing other different things than what little girls is doing. Boys need to be doing what boys do, and girls need to be doing what girls do. But y'all gonna put all y'all kids in the same class and think that is right and exact. School to prison pipeline. School disciplinary policies disproportionately affect Black students. Even though Black kids are only 16% of public school enrollment, they take over 42% of the suspensions. 31% of Black students are arrested, even though they're only 16% of the population. Black students are 3 times more likely to be suspended and expelled than white students. Students suspended or expelled for discretionary violations are nearly 3 times more likely to be in contact with the juvenile system the following year. Caught it this time. Caught it this time. They need to fix that, because why did that keep happening, bro?
I could give, because my son came into a home with my husband, and my husband is an amazing man. He's never raised his voice at me. He's the first man in my life, including father, that has shown me unconditional love, right? He is the first man that has supported me. He has been an amazing role model for both of my sons. However, my younger son was not attracted to that. My husband's too straight-laced. He's a corporate dude. You know, that didn't appeal to him. Only the tech side, because my husband is into technology. That appealed to him because my younger son is smart as hell. However, the calmness, and because my husband's not rah-rah, that didn't.
Because your husband is not a disciplinarian, because your husband is not an enforcer, little boys cannot respect an easygoing guy, a calm guy, a relaxed guy. You need to be up in them niggas' face every single time. Yes, sir. No, sir. These are the little boys we need. These little boys that's just into the life and into enjoying life. We don't need little boys like that. Because these little boys, they become the simps. They become the guys that's in jail. Like, they just become the lower rungs of society because they don't even respect masculine principles. When we out in the world, what keeps us alive is masculine principles. What's happening is that we're seeing the structure of masculine principles be crumbled from the inside out. So crime is on the rise in this world, in this country. The civilization is falling and is crumbling, and you need to figure out a solution. So therefore, one could fall deeper into the chaos or recognize what to do as far as whatever the plan is, whatever the daily spirit soul tells you what to do, right? And be up on that shit, be on top of that, be so structured and organized on what you're going to do that you don't even allow your young boys to have that space to crash out. And I think some people are like turned off by that, but I'm turned off by little young black boys going to prison. I'm turned off by young black boys thinking that they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And it's and that is not a reality for a young black boy. It's just not.
Appeal to my son. So back to your question, I don't think there's anything that you can do, to be completely honest, because again, he was raised in a good home once I got remarried. And even preceding that, because I'm not going to take away anything just because I was no longer married, that I didn't raise my children in a good home and give them morals and values and show them a great example of resilience. However, your children will choose their own paths.
That is the scariest.
They will choose their own path. So you can pray about it, but your children are still going to choose their own path. He chose his own path. We did therapy. I had counselors coming into my home. We tried to do therapy. We went to therapy. We went to family counseling. I connected him with mentors. I did whatever I needed to do as a mom to give him the right tools and point him in the right direction. He chose opposite. So I know it's scary to hear, but the truth is, it's really up to your child. Even if they're raised in a two-parent home, it does not matter. Your child is going to choose their own path.
Mm-hmm. Is that what makes you say that being...
How many Chinese people are in jail in America? What's the percentages? So black, 32%, even though we're only 10% of the population, 15% of the population, 31% white, even though they're like 90% of the population, 23% Hispanic, which is even crazier because they even lower than black and whites, multiracial 10%, American Indian, Alaskan Native 2%, Asian, Native Hawaiian, other Pacific Islander 1%. 1% that an Asian boy is going to end up in prison. 1%. He got a 1% chance. And 10 black out of 10 black people, 3 of them done went to prison. If you get 100 Chinese people, only one of them have went to prison. If you get 100 black people, 30 of them done went to prison. So when they get on this damn podcast and say, I don't know, it ain't really nothing you can do. It's nothing that you can do to keep your kids out of jail. They gonna go their own path. That is the psychosis. That is the issue. That is the problem. That is the disorder. Because in real life, in real time, you setting your kids off on this course to just crash out and never make it back home. Never make it back home. Because the tools in the structure, in the like the just standing in the face of adversity and saying, no, we're going to do this. I don't care how you feel about it. We don't do that because we want to rebel. We're going to get mad. We're going to get emotional. We're going to throw a tantrum. We're going to go through all of this existential crisis type of shit just for the purpose to crash out. How about there are things that I could implement, but I just don't know it. I'm just not informed. I've called every therapist, had therapists in my home, family therapists. It's a difference between getting a therapist and doing the psychology. It's a difference between getting a therapist and doing the shadow work. Because a therapist is not going to understand and overstand the modality of shadow work. You should be able to understand it because you know how much bullshit you be on. You should be able to get on top of your own horse and know how to calm it down.
A parent to adult children is scarier.
Absolutely. You have a little bit more control at the age that your babies are. And when you're younger, you know what I'm saying? When you have younger children, you still have a little bit more control. Once they hit that teen and they start to have a little bit of freedom, and then once they become adults, for me, that has been the traumatic part for me. And that's why I said what I said before we got off the phone. If I could do it again, I wouldn't.
See, I'd be over here counting my blessings. One boy, two boy, feeling like I didn't avoid the girl mom life, you know, because we know the challenges that can come along, even down to just the smart mouth that I'm not interested in, right? I feel like, woo, I didn't avoid it. But some of these challenges that you're talking about are literally like top 1, 2, 3 of the boy mom stuff that you Black culture of keeping your business in house, don't tell anybody. But it's not even, we're not talking about on these platforms. We're not even talking about it with our friends. So your best friend can be over here struggling, but she's too ashamed to admit it because you look like you got your shit together too. I've definitely in these last few years, motherhood has got me to the point where it's like, I don't care how it looks. Right. It is hard. You don't help me figure it out.
I haven't cared for a long, long time. And that's why I said every time my son got arrested, went to jail, and you know, it kind of hurt my feelings too, because you do feel like you're going to be judged. And then at some point I just didn't give a damn. Like, I'm just like, this is my truth. And this, if I continue, not only if I navigate the stresses of motherhood, but if I don't speak on it or talk, or that's what my sister group was supposed to be for. So I did feel judged, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. This is me releasing. And if this can help someone else feel comfortable enough to have these conversations, then so be it. And another group of mine, when we had some dinner.
I like these conversations. I'd rather these conversations than any other types of conversations. But at the same time, I'm going to still do my due diligence and dive deeper into what's being said, right? I'm going to look at the psychological fundamental aspects and get to some real breakthroughs, because that's what intrigued me about the conversation, because it was honest, right? Honesty don't always mean right. Honesty don't always mean good, but it allows you to do more of the diagnosis or the prognosis of what could be the issue with having children, having boys, and if you don't want your boys to end up in prison, right? If you don't want your boys to end up being, you know, a sex slave to a girl, right? There is a level of you can't do what you want when you want to do it. If you plant this seed in the child, they foster it and they nurture it and they grow it. And sometimes it can be in the background, hidden. And every time you turn your back as a parent, they doing some weird, wild shit. Was in the chat if you ever caught your child doing something that you was like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? Right? In their heart of hearts, they think they can do whatever they want. If you do not get rid of that weed, you're going to have a human being that's not in reality. It's delusional to think that you can do whatever you want whenever you want to in your relationships, in your parenthood, all of this. It requires you to take this shit seriously over a long period of time. It's not fun. It's not happy. It's not blissful. It's not exhilarating. It's hard ass work. And if you don't want to take part in the hard ass work, you can have kids, whatever. But I know some crazy horror stories in reference to people who having kids and what they put their kids through. Right? Horror stories. And I know some people that's working very hard to maintain a relationship with their kids because it's so hard. And if you don't get your bearings on that kid, man, they'll check out 15, 16. They just wait until they turn 18 or wait until they can just be away from your ass to just start doing the wildest, most craziest shit. If you don't understand that each child have that ability to just do some wild shit, then you think, oh, not my child, not my baby. And then you embarrassed when the real shit come out. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Just do what you need to do. Understand that this world requires things out of you. If you a parent and you homeschooling or your child having a hard time at school, take them out that school. Homeschool your child. But homeschooling with the structure, homeschooling with the discipline, get up out your ass, get up out your feelings. It's going to be tough because they be like, I don't want to do it. Yeah, all of that is rough. But like I said earlier, it's better to be a disciplinarian to your child than a goddamn state, than the goddamn government, right? And I really, truly, truly mean that. So, like, the mother complex is a very hard concept to wrap your mind around. Because most people think that the mother complex or your relationship with your mother should be perfect or your mother got it all figured out. The reason that I did this video is because sometimes, and not really about her, but to any individual, your mom could have hated being a mother and upset that you didn't turn out the way that she wanted you to turn out to be. Sometimes you and your mom can have a toxic relationship. And if you don't understand that part of your life, it's going to bleed into your relationships with men. It's going to bleed into your relationships with women. It's going to bleed into your career choice. It's going to bleed into how you show up in the world, how you show up at work, how you show up for yourself, because there is a part of you that just wants to run away and fucking hide, that wants to just be loved and nurtured and taken care of and supported. And the deeper aspects to this is that there is a goddess within you that can do all of that. And maybe your mom wasn't the one, but everybody within them has an archetypical mother or a spiritual mother that can do all of those things that you need. But because the relationship between your actual mother is too strong at an emotional level, you don't see the deeper structures of the inner world. And this is what shadow work is. The mother complex is one archetype representing the emotional relationship between a person and their mother. Carl Jung believed that the relationship between a person and their mother could profoundly impact their life, shaping their beliefs, behaviors, and relationships. He argued that the mother complex can have a positive and negative effects and will depend on the person's relationship with their mother. So I say, if you had a bad relationship with your mother, this is time to do shadow work. If you know the emotional energy is all fucked up between you and your mom, you got to do shadow work. It's not normal. It's not good. And it's impacting your marriage. And it's impacting your parenting. It's impacting everything. So that's why in the second chapter of the shadow work journal is the mother wound. Being able to journal and get through, like, input equals output, right? If you half-ass work through your mother wound, you'll get half-ass results. But you got to get knee deep into the trenches and really see how deeply this relationship has been impactful to other relationships, impactful to you. And as a man, you might see yourself taking care of your own responsibilities, in your full masculine, but you can't because you haven't done the shadow work. You haven't done the work in relation to your mother womb. So, you want a girlfriend so bad, all this type of shit. Like, man, all of that comes from the mother womb. So healing it, right? There's resources online. Of course, the Shadow Work Journal is a resource. And I bring these up because you can spend thousands of dollars with a psychologist and still not get what you need. And another thing, doing shadow work is not easy. Doing shadow work is not for everybody. But if you know that your relationship is toxic, if you know you're not showing up for your children in the way that you want to, if you know these things are taking place, then it's time to do some journaling and starting to open up. And what you'll notice is that when you get over your physical mom and you start to deal with your spiritual mom, things start to, take place in your life to whereas you have the successful relationship, you have the solution, you have the way to move forward, right? You don't want to give up. You don't want to crawl into under a rug and just hide from society because you can't take it and you don't know, all of this type of stuff, and that's what a mother wound does. It makes it to whereas you don't want to show up in life. You don't want to become your best self. That's the implications. And once again, not to bash women, not to bash mothers, but to awaken spirits. Is no spirit that's connected to a mom in a space where that's their actual mom. Your mom is just a vehicle for you to enter into this dimension and respect her, love her, give her all of the grace. But your life is not to make your mother happy. Your life is not to balance out your mother's emotions. Your life is not centered on parenting your own mother, right? You have to parent your own children. You can't take care of your mother. So if it comes a point in time where she wants to talk to you or, you know, connect with you, allow her that space. But don't try to heal the relationship between you and your mother because you are not the adult in the situation. You are the child. If she decides we need to heal our relationship, then be open and honest through the process. But you need to individuate. You need to get in contact with your own soul, your own direction, and your own path in life. Right. So, with all of that being said, this was something that was on my heart to share, to react to go through. Whenever I see videos like this, I'm gonna be more proactive in doing videos like this because you never know who needs to hear it. And also, I just be wanting to tell people about some of the books that I put out and, kind of like have promotion, have information type deals. But if there's other videos online that you think are spiritual, that needs to be reacted to, make sure you join the Discord. I said the Dipcord. The Dipcord sound crazy. the Discord, and hit us up in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, things of that nature, man. But yeah, I just like keeping it real. I just like talking about this deep psychology stuff. I could go on and on and on, do it forever. But, I try to do a video every day to stay consistent, stay in the algorithm, but also give content to the people who need content like this. There's a lot of bullshit content out there, a lot of content centered in wasting your time. My content is centered in you connecting to your soul. So before you hop in the backseat of a Lincoln Continental and get your black back blown out, make sure you do some deep meditation and transformational work. It's the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com, Columbian Exchange, hoodmystic.com, and stay out of those Lincoln Continental backseats.
You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. Time to tap in now. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic. Your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer.